The Minister of Solid Minerals Development, Dele Alake, has expressed shock at the level of damage after last week's explosion in Ibadan. The minister also says he's shocked that residents of the area could not speak up when they noticed illegal activities in the area. Dele Alake arrived in Ibadan earlier today on an assessment visit as the federal government awaits the outcome of forensic investigation. The minister is also expected to meet with the governor, Seyi Makinde, and visit some of the victims.
Kind of explosives could be stored in a residential area
for years,
and not a slum in a high-profile environment where you have enlightened citizens. This is not idea of your slum. Dele, permit my mention.
Those ones are probably safer than here, sir.
No, but in terms of enlightenment,
right,
in terms of civic responsibility,
people will see.
People
will talk.
You will imagine that even in an environment like this, if there is suspicion of some untoward things, activities going on, we'll await the final report
of the various agencies
together. What I call the forensic investigation. So that will point us in the right direction to, of course, remote and immediate, and then remedial measures to be taken. But in the interim, my own shock as an individual, as a Nigerian, not as a minister, but as a Nigerian.
After leaving the scene, the minister moved to the University Teaching Hospital in Ibadan, where some of the patients are receiving treatment. Last week's explosion led to the death of 5 persons, with many others injured. Earlier today, Governor Seyi Makinde announced that 90% of the victims have been discharged from the hospitals. Our correspondent Olaido Yewole is live for us in Ibadan for more on the visit of the Minister of Solid Minerals Development, Dele Alake. Olaido, what more can you tell us about the minister's visit?
Okay, about that, you would recall that a couple of hours ago, the minister had empathized with the victims that were affected by the explosion, while also revealing that the president had ordered, had given a directive that full investigation should be made on this situation. So, on getting to the scene of the incident today, the minister was briefed on all of the operations that have been carried out, the situation so far, and what actually led to the explosion in that area. But while the minister was addressing the press, he addressed the press, and one take home from what he said was that everyone affected by this incident should not be driven by emotion that would lead them to saying, according to him, uninformed or giving uninformed statements and assertions that could lead to something else before the investigation is concluded. So he said they would not be moved by whatever anyone has said, but he actually empathized with them and sympathized, and said he understands that whenever things like this happens to anyone,
yes,
emotions would lead you to saying anything. So he said whatever decision that would be made would be after full investigations have been concluded.
All
so
right.
That will inform by the federal government.
All right, Olaido. But then Governor Makinde has said that about 90% of the victims of that explosion have now been discharged from the hospital. How are they being resettled, and what can you tell us about the emergency shelter that the government has provided?
Okay, I mentioned earlier today that for those of them who are still at the temporary accommodation given to them by the state government, some of them have reunited with their family members. And for those who are still there at the for some of them who are still there at the accommodation provided to them temporarily, the government is taking full responsibility of whatever they eat and whatever they do there. So whatever decision that will be made would be after the investigation has been fully concluded. And for those who are still injured, who are still at the hospital, rather, the minister got to the place and wished them quick recovery. He sympathized and empathized with them also, and wish that they get well soon.
Olaido Iwole for us in Ibadan. Thank you very much for keeping an eye on this developing story for us. Now to Adamawa, where the State Ministry of Health has